Where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm from New York. Why would y'all like do
Where
stuff
is your family from?
from Jamaica?
Okay, shut the fuck up and respect foundational Black Americans. You
I'm
ain't
not
from
respecting none
here.
of that coon shit. What are you talking about?
Nigga, the coon is you and
Why?
your coward fucking family that had to bounce because you failed in Jamaica, nigga. That's
Because
the
we failed in
coward.
Jamaica?
You failed in fucking Jamaica,
And
my
then
nigga.
what happened to everybody that's in America?
Nigga, we still here fighting. That's what we doing. We didn't run like
So
bitches.
so
You ran like a bitch.
so FBA FBA
I'm saying you
wait,
a
no, I'm
bitch.
I'm gonna ask you. Let me ask you
You
something.
ran like a
Let me ask you
bitch.
something.
I'm
FBA
telling you. No, don't ask me
No,
nothing.
no,
Y'all,
because I'm asking
your
what you was talking about.
family, your
FBA,
family
yo,
ran like
FBA support
bitches.
Malcolm X?
Nigga, your family ran
Yo,
like
does FBA
bitches.
support Malcolm X?
You ain't at liberty to say
I'm
nothing
saying,
about
does
a
FBA
foundation of
support
Black
Malcolm
America.
X? Does
Nigga,
FBA
Malcolm X
support
ain't got
Malcolm X?
nothing. Malcolm X was half foundational Black American. You ain't got nothing to do with
You say
Malcolm
he was
X.
half?
Yes, he was.
But
His dad was a foundational Black American.
the whole thing
His
that he was
dad
talking
was a
about came from a
foundational Black
Jamaican nigga. What are you
American.
talking about?
Nigga, first of all, Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican. He said y'all weren't shit. Marcus Garvey didn't get shit popping in Jamaica. He got it popping here. Y'all try to tell the Marcus Garvey lie. Marcus Garvey left Jamaica in disgust because of coons like your bitch ass.
She's a Nigerian immigrant. And we've told you over and over again about those Nigerian bedwenches and coons who come over here who can't wait to get up under white mommy and zaddy and throw shit on American black people. And that's all she does. She sits on Twitter and she shits on black men and black women, but really a lot of hatred for American black men. I've warned y'all over and over and over and over about those Negroes. The white supremacists, they know the type of Negroes to get and act like they're the thought leaders of black society, people who don't have any camaraderie. They don't really feel like they have a connection with us. And I'm not talking about all Nigerians, by the way. I'm not talking about all of them. I'm talking about there's a select group of African immigrants who are vetted by the white supremacists, and they bring their asses over here and they put them in black society to just fuck it up.
We can easily put this argument to bed as to who you are. You will take DNA tests, you will show who you are, and I'm sure it will come back that you are actually from Africa. Your DNA, your genetic line will be from Africa. I've watched African Americans say that they're Hebrews, the original Hebrews. I've watched them say that they're original Muslims, and I'm just wondering when we're going to get to a time for quote unquote African Americans to understand who they are. The history of black people in America is it's not a happy history. So as far as we know, they were taken from the continent of Africa, they were brought over on slave ships, and they were made into the current people that we have there today, right? And so during that time, Africa was demonized in their eyes. They didn't want to be seen as African because Africans lived in mud huts and, you know, were around campfires, probably burning, cooking people in cauldrons and all this kind of stuff. That was the narrative, but we live in the information age, right? So the information as to who you are can actually be found. However, it seems like a lot of African Americans, not all, when I look at this identity crisis that they're going through, have chosen to become anything but what they are genetically. If we were to go back to 1921 and we go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we go back to what they call Black Wall Street, black people in America were millionaires. They were doing very well, after slavery, and, they built a whole town in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was subsequently burnt to the ground and bombed from the sky by the KKK and other hate groups, the police, etc., etc. I'm not saying that black people in America do not have a stake in America. They do. They have a stake in America, and I get that. However, the system that America has shown them time and time and again that it treats you a certain way. And so for African Americans to sever that tie to Africa, to the continent in which they originally came from, makes no sense. If you're trying to build your Wakanda, quote unquote, you're trying to build your Wakanda in America, which the people on Black Wall Street tried in the 1920s, it's been already shown to you that it can be destroyed. For you to only, as a black person in America, to only associate yourself with the continent of North and South America would be, for me, a huge mistake. I think African Americans should start building bridges with the continent of Africa. As much as Africa, certain parts of Africa has its problems, you don't have the problem of systematic racism in Africa because it's a black continent. Many places in Africa are very welcoming of African Americans. Places like Rwanda, places like Ghana, places like Nigeria, they're quite welcoming of African Americans. And I just think that the foundational Black American movement and the ADOS movement and stuff like that is just more division. And it speaks to an identity crisis that black people in America have. I think it was Chris Rock, actually, that said, you have to look at America as the uncle that put you through college, but also molested you. You have this connection with America, and I get it, and you've become better in America, but you've also become worse. Or let's not say worse, let's say the same, because when it comes to the economics of America, black people own about 1% of America. Now, if black people in America have been there since slavery, you have black millionaires, you have black billionaires in America, you still don't own a share of America that you should own. However, you can own a share of the continent which you originally came from. And I just think black people in America and all over Europe generally need to start looking at Africa, the continent of Africa, as a place that they could legitimately build a new life. One of my clan members, shout out to Cobbs, and his company called Asasi. He's a Ghanaian man, he lives in the UK. He is now building houses, he's bought land in Ghana, and he's now showing people, okay, from outside of Africa, from the diaspora, quote unquote, to come back to Africa to start building a life. And I think a lot of African Americans need to start doing that. The system of America, which is good to you to some degree, is still a system that you didn't build. And I've said this on so many occasions. If black people don't have their own stuff, they have no leverage. If we are not top of our own social economic system, then we hold no leverage. Black people in America generally do not hold leverage in America, which is why black people in America get treated the way they do. Systematic racism is a very big problem in America. People can deny, people can agree, that's fine. But when you look at the social economic ladder, okay, of America, you will find black people at the bottom of the social economic ladder. And so I've always said, this system is designed to keep the people that have always been in power in power. We as black people and African Americans as black people have another option. And that other option is to go to a black continent, right, and start a new life there. And if we don't do that and we don't have that in our heads as an option, we will continue the same cycle of trying to beg people for stuff like reparations. So the foundational black Americans and the ADOS movement and the black peoples in America are talking about reparations. Do I think black people in America deserve reparations? Yes. Do I think they will get it? No. Why do I think they won't get it? They won't get it because the system of America has no obligation to repair the damage that they have done. They have no obligation to do it. Them repairing that rift or that financial rift that was caused with African Americans would cripple the economy of America. And I don't think black people in America, according to the system, are worth crippling the economy for. So yes, you can have your fight for reparations and wanting, I think it's $7 trillion in reparations. You can fight for it, but will you get it? I don't think you will. So people are going to say, okay, but what about black people in the UK and Europe? My thing is, black people in the UK and Europe, right, have one foot here and one foot in their respective country. So the black people in the UK will be from Jamaica, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Barbados, Nigeria. They'll be from all over either the Caribbean or the African continent. And most black people in the UK and Europe have one foot here, but also one foot in their motherland or their other respective countries where their parents came from. So should shit hit the fan, you know, they also have somewhere to go back to and somewhere to invest in. And a lot of people that I know in the UK who are black have either a house in the Caribbean or a house in Ghana or a house in Nigeria or some kind of land somewhere, because we have not chosen to totally sever ourselves from our motherland, let's say. African Americans have been severed from their motherland and have chosen to stay that way. And it didn't need to be that way. So all of these other, you know, like organizations, FBA, ADOS, the Moors, the Aboriginals, and all this kind of stuff, need to start building a foundation elsewhere also. You need to start buying land elsewhere. Otherwise, you'll just continue to do what you've always done and get what you've always got.